Hi, it's Jenny back at the demonstration garden today talking to you about irrigation. If you've ever attended any of my gardening classes or come to another one, you will hear me talk about water every single time. It's that important. And after a water year like we have had, we had a very dry fall, we have not got the snowpack, watering is key. Anytime I've ever done a consult in anyone's yard, the two things I always look at is their soil and their sprinkler box. 9 times out of 10, it is not a lack of water that is happening. It's actually overwatering, or it's watering too little, too often, we're not finding success. But today I'm just focusing on garden beds and irrigation within our garden beds. We have these amazing community plots available to rent, where you can go out and you can plant up all sorts of things. But to really find true success in this type of environment, we have to be mindful of how we irrigate. At every community plot, there's a spigot that you have access to, and you have access to water throughout the gardening season. It's very easy to add in your own type of irrigation. Now, if you're the kind of person that knows you're gonna go visit your garden every day and you like to hand water, go for it. But I want you to be mindful as you're watering how you're doing it. When we have watering events like rain and snow, and we see it coming down and we're thinking, gosh, that should have added plenty of the water into our soils. We have to think though, how fast did that water come down and how much is it available for our plants to take up? So I like to refer to this as dump watering. We do it a lot in containers, and we do it a lot in our raised garden beds, and anything where we're hand watering, where we get out there with the hose, or we've got a nice watering can and we dump water. We just put a lot of water on really, really fast. Well, great, that's a lot of water. That's probably the adequate amount of water. But when we're pouring it on that fast, your plants are only taking up a very, very small amount, maybe a fourth of that water that you're laying down when you dump water. So the slow flow sprinkler irrigation, very similar to what we have within our planter beds in our homes, drip irrigation is key. That allows the water to enter the soil profile very slowly. It allows the water to percolate down through the soil profile and enter into the rooting systems and stay there, and we don't have all that runoff. So if you have any part of your garden where you have water sitting on the soil surface, that tells me you've got a soil structure problem, or you're putting too much water down too fast. Making some simple changes to your irrigation system, you will find success. You may be wondering what type of irrigation system is best for a raised garden bed, and you have a couple options. This is a simple soaker hose setup that hooks right into your spigot. You actually can add a timer that would be there that you could set up, a battery operated timer, so you wouldn't physically have to go over and turn this on. I just picked this up at the local garden store. It's just a soaker hose setup where you could hook to that garden spigot and you could lay the soaker hose down in between your garden beds. That allows not a lot of evaporation because you don't have anything overhead. It helps you avoid issues like powdery mildew because moisture isn't touching the leaves, and it allows proper irrigation to get into the rooting systems, which is super, super key, especially in planter bed gardening. Or there is this type of sprinkler system that I have out here at the demonstration garden, which is a drip irrigation system with overhead sprinklers. Both are super efficient. They allow the water to come on at a slow rate, allow it to percolate through the soil profile, and to get into our planting systems. Both of these systems are easy to set up. They're really user-friendly. And when we're talking timing of it, you have to think about the weather, right? Typically in Utah, by the time we get our plants in after Mother's Day, we don't have a lot of overhead water coming down. At the most, you want to run your irrigation system probably 3 times a week. But I don't want you to ever run your irrigation system for just a couple of minutes. You've got to start changing your mindset. You don't want to water every day, but you want to water deeply and infrequently. You want to allow that water to come into the soil profile and sink down into those rooting systems. By doing that, you're training those rooting systems to seek out that deep water, which every time you have a rooting system that sinks down low, then you know that the plants are growing that much more up top. So that is really key. Water deeply and infrequently all through your growing season.